What's happening, people? Yes, it's another episode of the Giants Guys. And of course, we are here to entertain you for the next hour with a great show we got lined up. I've got my man Hodgins is in the building. Of course, he was having some technical issues. We're working on that. I've got Chris in the room. I got Truth in the room. We gave the rest of the crew off. So thanks for never tuning in to another episode of the Giants Guys. We're going to chop it up with you guys. Sorry, we're a couple minutes late. We're working on some background stuff. You know how these wide receivers are. They want to make a good entrance, right? So let's see if we can pop these guys in here. Hopefully we got everything ready to rock. Again, another episode of the Giants Guys. Second week in a row, we deliver. Last week, Nick Gates. Today, my man is in the room. Let's get him in here. Here comes Truth. Truth, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, guys? What's up?
Dude, like, hello, a wide receiver from the New York Giants. Like, we always get the linemen, the linebackers. We don't get anybody cool. We got cool people in the room today.
Yeah.
That does not count. That does not count, Chris, because Chris, no offense, you're not Hodgins. You're cool, but you're not that cool.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't make that kind of money either, so that's good. That's
I know. All right, let's bring in the man himself, number 18, star wide receiver from the New York Giants, Isaiah Hodgins. What's up, my man?
Yo, what's good? What's good?
Oh, hey, there he is.
There we go. We got some
You
audio.
can hear him.
Love it. I was a little worried there for a minute. I was like, oh man. I'm like,
No,
I'm
we
gonna have
got it.
to
We
drive
got
over to his house and do it from his living room.
it.
Oh. So, all right, man. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. We got a
always.
ton of stuff to talk to you about because, like, again, like we interview your teammates, we interview former Giants all the time, but we never get the receivers. So we finally got somebody with some style in the room. All right. I like to start off the same place. We'll always start off about being a kid because we got to kind of get the background. You have a really pretty cool, diverse background when it comes to, like, you know, your dad's an ex-NFL player. You lived in Arizona, California. Let's just start off at this because I got to understand this. You wore 25 because of Reggie Bush?
Yeah. I had a bunch of numbers though. Like I went from like 11 because of Larry Fitzgerald, 11 because of Larry Fitzgerald, 25 Reggie Bush. Like, you know, I just had like a bunch of different, you know, stuff I would kind of go between.
All right. I'm just making sure I got it right because I was doing the research. Now, this one had me cracking up. I got to ask you. So if I understand this right, you know, your dad's a coach. I'm sure he's an inspiration, but he's a tough dude, right? So there's a quote that I read that he says that when you were a kid, you were the worst player on the team. And then there's like some kid named B Miller. Like what's the story about this B Miller character that you have to compete against?
I was literally like my first year playing football, I was terrible. And it was bad, but I was like, it's not that I didn't want to play. I was just, I don't know, I wasn't used to it, and there was just like, you know, like I was playing against bigger people and older people, and I was just scared. Like I don't know what it was. Like I just wasn't good. And then that second year, like a switch just like flipped, and I like literally was like the best player on the team. Like I don't know what happened if I was just around it more, but so my first year though, it was pretty embarrassing. My dad wasn't too happy.
Oh my God, that's a scream. So your dad was like, as I read the quote, he was like, yeah, he was the worst player on the team until we realized that the B Miller was trying to show him up. And I was like, B Miller, like, where's B Miller right now? And then like did he go and play ball, this B Miller?
I think he played at NAU, Northern Arizona University. I want to say that, I think, for just like college ball, and then just like stopped there. But we had a lot of like good players on our team. Like we had a lot of players who went like either like D1 or like some of the players like went to the NBA. Like, you know, like we just had like a pretty like athletic like team. But I think I was the only one from like the youth team to make it to the NFL. So
very cool. No, that's awesome. I just was laughing. I had to ask you. I'm like, man, Pops is tough, man. Pops is tough.
Oh yeah, really.
So you moved from Arizona, California. If I pronounce it right, is it Berrien High School? Is that how you pronounce it?
Berean, yeah.
Berean High School. Now, look, you get there, you're still a dominant, you're continuing on this dominant path, and everything I read is like you're basically like a Hellraiser, man. Like you're like you're getting flagged. You're showing people up because, again, hey, when you got God-given talent like that, sometimes you got to let people know how good you are. Until I read the talk. Tell me a little bit about this talk that Papa Hodgins has with you, like about figuring this out and straightening yourself out. Because I don't know, you seem like a pretty cool dude to me. Like I can't see you
Yeah.
being the Hellraiser, but again, I'm sure your dad looks at it differently than we do.
Yeah. So it was funny because actually, like, my local high school was in Oakley, California, and it was Freedom High School, and all my friends were going to that local high school that I wanted to go to, and it was like big, like for football, like they had like Joe Mixon and some other people like Darrell Daniels and all these people who were going, like, who were good players then. Like I think they put out like 4 or 5 players in the league like right now, like from the high school. So I was like, I want
Okay.
to go to Freedom High School with all my friends. And then my dad was like, nah, like you're gonna go to this school, like, I'm gonna be the coach, and I'm gonna make sure you get right. So then I'm like, like I played with my dad my whole life. Like I got to play for him some more. Like, I
All
like
right.
it, but like he's always super hard on me. So then, like early on, like freshman, sophomore years, I was always super like, typical high schooler, like think you're the man, think you're all tough and everything. And I wasn't really like applying myself and probably working as hard as I should. And he like there was like multiple times, like the talk, like we've had like multiple talks like all the time. But like one that I distinctly remember is like he like really was like chewing me out like in the car and was like, man, like if you think this is the road to like going D1 and getting a scholarship, like you're far off. Like like you're not even on the JUCO route right now. Like this and this. And like it was just like, yeah, like was just like digging into me, and it made me like so mad in that moment. Like I was like pissed, like I was like, like not even wanting to talk to him in this. But then like I sat there like later that night, and like the next thing I'm like, like he pissed me off, but he's right. Like what he's saying isn't wrong. So then like, like I really had to sit there and like fix some of the stuff I was doing, people I was hanging around, and like work ethic and stuff, and really just took it up a notch. So
He dropped a JUCO route on you?
yeah, I mean, he used to say stuff all the time. I mean, he used to know, like that was kind of, he knew that was his way of like motivating me, because he knew like I would hear that stuff and be like, all right, like I'm gonna show you up, like we'll see, like that's what I always say, like when people like talk trash to me, it's never like I never like go in a corner and like hide or like get mad, like it really like motivates me, and I'm like, all right, like
You're
it's
like,
time to prove.
no one's as bad as the crap my dad gave me growing up. So
Yeah.
and again, the guy, listen, kudos to him. Played 8-9 years in the league is not an easy thing to do. Won himself a ring, and again, he's fullbacks known to be a tough. You don't even have fullbacks anymore, right? So I mean, he's he's a tough dude to play that position as long as he did. So I can, sometimes you got to listen to what Pop says. It's like, and again, like, hey, look, I got a 14-year-old. I'm probably the hardest guy on him too. So I mean, like, I know you've got, a little one at home. You'll see when that time comes. It's like dad's always hard on the kid.
Yeah, no, literally, like there, like a funny story. Like he literally, like it probably like sounds worse than what it was, but like there was one day he literally like kicked me out of practice. Like, and this is like when I was like a junior with already like 15 scholarship offers at this point. Like, and he literally like kicked me out of practice and like left me there. Like,
Oh my God, it's great. I love it.
no, like literally like called my mom, and I'm like dad left, like boom boom, and she like gets all mad. She's like, no way he left you at practice, like this and this, like, and like start getting mad at him, and this, and my dad was like, well, he wanted to act all tough and act like an asshole, this and this, like like he's gonna find a way, and I'm like,
oh man, dad is one badass dude. I'll tell you that. That's funny. Go ahead, Chris, jump in here.
No, I mean it's fascinating. So Isaiah, the recruiting process, when you were going to college, whether it was Oregon State, I mean Oregon, was after you as well. How hard of a decision was that when you chose Oregon State over Oregon?
Oh yeah, it was big. Like I'm glad that I had my dad in that aspect of like someone who's already been to college and been to the NFL, who's kind of be able to see like through like a lot of the BS that like college coaches try to like feed you and stuff, because it's very easy to get caught up like in the hype and like in the, just whatever that college offers. Like I remember when I first got offered from Michigan, I was like, I'm going to Michigan. Like no one could tell me like different. Like I was like, man, like going to Michigan from California, like that's like, you're the man back where you're from and all that. And my dad was like, no, like, listen, like, we're going to sit here and we're going to write like pros and cons of each college and, like where
Wow.
you would play right away. Where'd you play as a freshman? Like, where you're going to get most experience and like pro style offense to get you ready for the NFL. And,
Wow.
like we really like broke all that stuff down. So then we were like, Oregon State was the best spot for me.
Wow.
I saw the video. I saw the video, Chris, of him on the field with all his teammates behind him.
Right.
They got the hats on the table, and he turns around. He's like, "I'm taking my talents too," and he puts the visor on. Everybody's face was like, "Whoa!" I don't think anybody was prepared for it either. Like all his boys were hanging out behind him, so it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Isaiah, at Oregon State, I mean, you're top 5, right, in receiving? Is that right?
Yeah, I think I'm either tied for first or second for like touchdowns with like Brandon Cooks and somebody else.
Wow.
I know like Chad Johnson he did for like single stuff. I think I'm tied or close with him. But yeah, for yards, I'm pretty sure I'm like top 5 or up there. So.
Oh, that's great.
Go ahead, Truth, jump in.
Well, yeah, to jump on that, I mean, you came during probably one of the best wide receiver class in probably the last decade. The guys you had, Higgins and Lamb, and even Judy. I personally thought you should have been taken higher, but do you keep tabs on these guys now that you're playing and see how they're doing, and you try to elevate your game to where you think you should be with them?
Yeah, it's funny because I remember, kind of the same thought process that you were saying. I thought I was going to get drafted, like anywhere from like 2nd to 4th round, like I was thinking like 5th at the latest. And so like every receiver that was just like drafted in front of me, like I just like wrote down their name and notes and kind of just like, I kind of like remember and keep that like reminder of just like, like this team doubted me, this wanted, this guy in front of me and all that. And so I wouldn't necessarily say I use it as like motivation, but like I definitely don't forget it. Like, I'm not sitting there like checking in on CD Lamb's stats and like, oh, I had a better game than him. But, like I try to like, push myself to like my own game and what I know I can do like each week. Cause I don't want to sit here and, oh, I'm comparing this to Jerry Jeudy and, like just play that game. You can play that all day long. So I just try to sit here and really like use, myself for my motivation, my faith, and just sitting there and providing for my family.
Love it. Well, the Giants fan base is unbelievably excited that you're here, man. It's we've been starving for not only a receiver with some personality and fun. Like, so it's been great watching you play. Like, you don't even though you kind of think you don't really know. Like the fan base has been just, like you got a guy like Odell, and then Odell goes away, and then it becomes like wide receiver desert. So it's been exciting to watch you burst on the scene. But I still have to back up to Buffalo because it's such an amazing story. Like, you do get drafted, and we had Nick Gates on last year, your teammate. We had Nick on last week, and he was saying how it was the worst day of his life. And I'm like, wait a minute, you broke your leg and had 7 surgeries and you missed football for 410 days. And the worst day of your life was draft day? And he's like, yeah. He's like, it was terrible. Like, just because he had same thing that you just mentioned. Like, you have aspirations of going higher, or you think that you should go higher. So my question is, what was the draft day like? Did you know you were on Buffalo's radar, or was that a surprise? Because we've had some people tell us like the team that drafts you sometimes doesn't even talk to you. Yeah. So kind of curious on how that goes down, on draft day.
Yeah. Well, first talking about the first part that you said about just like the fans and everything, I definitely had a great experience here with all the Giants fans, you guys, just like anyone in general. I love meeting all the little kids and stuff. I did a little like virtual event last week and like reading books to them, and it was so fun. Like all the little kids were asking questions and doing all that. So, I've definitely loved that aspect of here in New York. But yeah, going back to draft day, it was like a little of like a bittersweet because, I was definitely like thankful and happy to get drafted, but it wasn't as high as I wanted. But like the joke around it was so funny that I was just sitting there the whole time before, and I was like, man, I hope I go like to at least like kind of like a warm state or close to home or something, and like that was yeah, that was just like my hopes. And my mom, like, jokingly, I swear to God, this was like the night before the draft, she jokingly was like, "Oh, like, watch you go to like the Buffalo Bills or something like that." And I literally thought like nothing of it. I'm like, yeah, no, like that would like never happen. Which I actually did do, like one of, like, because it was COVID year, so like a virtual like Zoom interview with Dayball and everybody. And all I remember about that interview is like the Bills weren't really like talking to me a lot, but I talked to him, I would say, like 2 times. And that interview with Dayball was like one of the hardest interviews I definitely had. Like, Dayball was straight up like, "All right, like, here's like 10 plays," like showed like 10 plays, would like talk about each one, boom, boom, and then would be like, "All right, now what's this play? Draw it up for me." And like on like the plays that I just now like learned and talked to him about, and I'm like, holy shit, like
Really?
this is
All right.
yeah, I got a good amount of them right, which is maybe what he saw in me, and like, he was like, like, he's a smart dude and stuff, but it was definitely tough. Like, it was a challenging interview for sure. But and then yeah, I mean, I remember McDermott and them calling me, but it was actually a Tennessee area code, so I was like, oh, I'm going to the Titans. Like, that's not like, it's not that bad of weather. And then he was like, "Hey, McDermott with the Buffalo Bills, we're drafting." And I was like, damn, like, I was happy, but I was like, damn, I'm really going to Buffalo. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, you're like, hang on 1 second, Mom.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you know how? I'll use the word mature. Did you know how mature of a wide receiver room that is? I mean, there's some names in that room, Diggs and Beasley, and like, did you know, like, oh crap, I'm walking into a, hey, excited to be drafted. Next chapter, we turn the page, but oh my goodness, there's 5 receivers in the room. I think Brown was there. I mean, I'm sure that was something that entered your mind.
Yeah, well, at first I really didn't know like how deep, and I didn't really know the NFL in general at first, so I didn't know, how it worked, and like roster spots and like all that stuff. I was just excited to be on the team. Like, I was definitely excited to play with Diggs. I remember him and Josh Allen hit me up on draft night, and it was like a super, just like kind of like surreal and fun moment. And I was like, okay, it's time to go now and stuff. But I mean, yeah, the more I was there, like, yeah, I mean, the names from Diggs to Cole Beasley, John Brown, I mean, Gabe Davis, who was drafted in front of me. So like, there's that. Isaiah McKenzie was the slot receiver there. And then the next year they just replaced John Brown with Emmanuel Sanders, like another, like, big name. And like, so it was kind of like tough, but looking back at it, I mean, it helped my growth and maturity a lot, because those guys helped me in so many ways, like that. Just seeing how like vets do stuff and seeing their knowledge for the game, hearing their stories, what to do, what not to do. Like, they helped me so much in a way of like kind of like molding me and, teaching me about my own game and how to get better and stuff. So they definitely helped a lot.
Very cool. Because like, I can imagine that's a little bit unnerving to be like, hey, these guys are making me feel comfortable, but oh man, that's an uphill battle, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, go ahead, guys, jump in. I know you guys got some questions.
Yeah, Chris.
All right. Yeah. So Isaiah, I wanted, this was something that I was thinking about when you're on the practice squad, at Buffalo towards the end before you came to the Giants. I mean, in the back of your mind, you had guys like Bobby Johnson, you have Dable, you have Shane, Shea Tierney, guys that knew you before they went to New York. I mean, was there a part, you're thinking, well, you know what, if there's a team that's going to call me, if I'm on this practice squad, are you keeping one eye on the Giants? Like, because we had some injuries, right? Sterling Shepard went down, a few other guys. So was this something that you were kind of keeping tabs on? Like, hey, if there's a team, the Giants may be it that come get it.
No, I definitely thought that, like, even during like training camp, and I this past training camp with, the Bills, it was like my best training camp that I've had. Like, I was, dominating from the 1s to the 2s to like whoever I was with, and then preseason with like killed in preseason. So I thought, like, for sure, like, okay, I'm gonna make the team, and if not, then I'm gonna get claimed. And I was hoping to get claimed by the Giants at that time, because I was like, like, Dayball knows me over there and this, and then I didn't get claimed or anything. So it was kind of like a dagger. I was like, dang, like that, that's tough. And then, Buffalo brought me back up to the active for like 6 weeks. So, I was kind of riding that high, and then they cut me again. So then when they cut me, like, in the back of my mind, I was thinking like, man, like, I wish the Giants would give me a call, like I had talked about like Dayball and stuff with my wide receiver coach, like, a couple weeks prior, just, we were chopping it up about him. And I was like, man, like, I kind of wish I was there, like, right now. And then, but I wasn't really thinking about it, to be honest. When I got cut, like, I thought it was just like, like Buffalo's going to sign me back, then I'll be back on their active in a couple of weeks. And then like all those FaceTime and calls started coming in from all the guys that you named, Dayball, Joe Shane, you know, Shay, Bobby, everybody. And I was like, oh, damn,
Wow.
like, you know, this
What,
is
what
happening.
happened? What happened with your shoulders? I know, Truth, you were going to ask him about the shoulder because,
Oh yeah.
you know, you missed that first year with the shoulder injury, and then you had to wait a whole year to get another start. Like, what happened with the shoulder?
Yeah, so my rookie year, a lot of teams knew. So I actually dislocated and tore my labrum in my shoulder at Oregon State my sophomore year. But I played through it my whole junior year, and with just like one of those things where like it would dislocate like in the middle of a game. Like I'd go to the sideline, they'd pop back in. But I was like labeled as a hypermobile, so I was able to like keep playing. So I kind of kept playing through it. So these teams in the draft knew that eventually I was going to need surgery. So I think that's probably like one of the reasons why I probably like slipped a little bit and stuff. But so then I went to the Bills and I was like, you know, I'm gonna try to just thug it out through training camp. Hopefully nothing happens. And then in training camp, like, man, like my shoulder dislocated like I probably like 5 to 6 times, and one of them was like real bad. Like it wasn't going back into socket for like 5 minutes, and then finally got back. And then at that point, I was literally like, all right. Or at that point, after that, they put me on IR and they were like, let's try rehabbing it. But, you know, with NFL rehab. So I did that for like 2 months. And then my first practice back, I dislocated again. And I was like, I'm just getting surgery. Like,
And that's got to be scary where, you know, you're not a first round pick. You're thinking, oh my gosh, this is never going to heal. And this is my football career, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was like trying to kind of play through it, because I was like, you know, I'm gonna do whatever to, you know, make any type of team. And then I finally you know, got healthy with that. And then my second year, I was having another good camp and like doing real good. And that's when like Davis Webb was still there, and, you know, Dayball and all the guys and stuff. And then the first preseason game, I like slightly tore my PCL in my knee, like the same injury that Lamar Jackson had this past year. So then I'm sitting there and I'm like, dang. So then like I basically like they cut me because of that, and I was on practice squad for that whole year, just kind of, you know, getting back right. And I came back toward the end, like played like a game and a game or two, and then this last year was finally like, okay, like I'm healthy, like all this stuff is past me, like let's roll. So.
Did you have surgery for the PCL?
No, it wasn't like a complete tear, so it was something that just like through rehab and like doing all that, like healed on its own.
I tore mine too. You know, I mean, I only played D3 ball, but I remember they told me like if I hadn't done the rehab that I was going to get drop leg, like because it, you know, that kind of holds your leg, your PCL kind of holds those up together. So I was just wondering if you actually had the surgery.
Yeah, no, I mean, it feels great now. I mean, I, you know, did the whole rehab process and everything. So, you know,
heck yeah. All right. Well, let me. So, okay. You know, you get cut by Buffalo or released on November 1st.
Mm-hmm.
November 2nd, you're a Giant. Like literally 24 hours. How does that go down? Like, is it immediate where like there's a rush of calls that come in? Like the minute you're, I guess, either your agent or I don't know how they, I guess, you know, you hit the waiver wire, however it happens. Like, is it Giants and Giants only, or is there a flood of calls coming in?
No, so like I don't know what team claims me or even put in claims like until like the waiver wire is like done. So, you know, when I got cut at 4 the previous day, then I didn't find out until 4 the next day, like if anybody claimed me. And it was like right before 4 when my agent texted me and he was like, bro, Giants. And at the time I was literally just at the house watching TV and I'm like, what is he talking about? And then like a flood of text messages and calls just came in all from the Giants personnel. And I was like, oh, like dang. And
that's
nice. Like Dayball was like, yo, like we got you on a flight up here tonight. Like we're on a bye week. But, he's like, you know, you already know the playbook. There's a few changes here and there, but, you know, we'll get you caught up to speed. You know, like brought me in. I did my physical and stuff, like past that. And then they were just like, you know, like, welcome to the Giants. Like, this is your spot. Like, and the only player that I actually met, like, then when I took that quick little visit was Daniel Jones. He was like the only one in the locker room. And he was like still there, like working out, grinding. And was like, hey, what's up? Like, you know, Daniel, it was like my first time meeting him. And I was like, all right, yeah, like, you know, this is going to get off to a good start. So
that's awesome because like when you think about it, right? You could have went anywhere. You already knew like your former offensive coordinator and assistant GM. Like, what kind of relationship do you have with Shane? Like, well, you know, I'm assuming that Dave's and Shane probably had some hand in drafting you to begin with.
Yeah. Shane used to actually, he was like the one because he was assistant GM back in Buffalo. he used to come to like my practices and games like at Oregon State. So like he like hands-on really like was like, I remember seeing him, and then I remember when I got drafted to Bills, he was like, yeah, I was the one, like I went to your Washington game, I went to this and that and whatever. Like I used to always, like see you. So, he definitely played a part in that. So definitely thankful for him and Dabo.
Yeah, man. That's again, sometimes it's meant to be, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just meant to be. Go ahead, guys. You guys can jump in.
Well, let me just add on to what you guys are talking about. You go to the Giants and you meet Daniel Jones, and you guys seem to click so quickly. And you picked everything up, as you well know, because you knew the playbook, like you've been there for years. And you and Daniel Jones talk a lot, even though after you met him, about strategy, going through, like looking at you, like it seemed like you were his first target all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I loved just like last year growing and playing with Daniel, and he's like a player that I can relate to so much because he puts like the work in and takes no shortcuts. Like when I tell you, like this dude is one of the first dudes in the building and like legit the last one to leave, like it's not an exaggeration. Like he's in the weight room doing extra lifts, or if it was after meetings, he'd be like, hey, like he'd get me, Slayton, and Richie, and anybody else who want to join and be like, let's watch extra clips and film on these guys. And he would always ask me, like, based off route concepts we had, like, hey, how did you guys do it in Buffalo? How did Josh and Diggs do this? And what was this like? And he was just trying to figure out every which way to like get better and to win games. And that's like one thing I really respected from him, from the first time I met him.
Love it. Oh, listen, I've got like a bazillion people, in the chat. They're blowing up the chat here. Like there's 135 comments right now. Like they're coming in. So again, thank you everybody for watching another episode of the Giants Guys. There's everyone you can name is in here that we've interacted with on a daily basis. So we appreciate all you guys coming in here. But the one that I wanted to grab, I don't know if it was Darius or if it was Jay. They wanted to know who you model your game after, and I know you were a big Larry Fitzgerald fan. I know that, we mentioned about Reggie Bush. Is there anyone that like, even now to this day, you're like, hey man, I can have longevity in the league, if I play like this guy, or, you're trying to get better? Because what I love about your game is, and me and Chris and Michael were talking about it earlier, like, I really don't think speed is a big deal when it comes to your game, because I got to tell you, like, not only Isaiah, I have season tickets, so I've had them in my family since 1968. So I see all your games, and what's amazing is you're a very precise route runner. You are a fantastic route runner, double move, triple move, like very precise. That doesn't come natural to everybody, because receivers think, if I hit a double move, if I hit a triple move, it's going to slow me down too much, and the DB is going to be all over me. Like, so my question is like, was route running something that came natural to you? And like, and I'll find whoever asked the question. It might have been Darius in the chat, wants to know, like, is there a guy out there like, hey, it's Randy Moss or it's Jerry Rice? Like, is there someone that you like, were like, hey, Dad, that's the guy I want to play like?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's always like the big, like, obviously, like, big household names that like you want to play with and everything. But attaining to like me and how I felt like I wanted to play in the NFL, like two guys when I was in high school, I mean, really three, but that like I always watched and always looked up to no matter what, was like Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, and then like Stephon Diggs was like third, just because he's a little like shorter than me, but I still like loved his releases and routes and everything. But Keenan Allen, Devontae were both kind of like bigger guys. Like they're not running like 4.4s or 4.3s or anything, but like these guys are always open, and like they always find a way to get open. And their releases, their route running, just everything about those guys was just like precise, and just like I wanted to try to emulate everything that they were doing. And then other than like those two, then when I got to the Bills, Diggs was really big on like, hey, like you have to figure out what works best like for you. Like you can't sit here and run routes like Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill can't run routes like you. Like, and like he was like, you could study other receivers, but like the biggest thing is like study yourself and really find like what you could do best, because like there's a lot of people who can't play like your game. Like, so I always try to make it like, okay, like I want to be a big, dominant 6'4" receiver who plays little, like at first, like with the releases and the routes and stuff like that. Like I want to be able to get separation, like good feet, like get in and out of my breaks well and all that. But then when it comes to the catch point, blocking, contested catches, that's when I want to be like, I'm 6'4", like I'm going to get this ball, So I always felt like if I could like kind of have the best of both worlds, like I'm 6'4", but I have great feet, like I'm 6'4" and I'm not running a 4.3, but I can run a 4.5, and like you have to respect my speed and stuff like that. Then like I feel like I could sit here and put myself in a good situation. So.
Love it. Go ahead, Chris. Jump in.
No, Isaiah, I'm just curious. As Giant fans, we knew about you before you went against Patrick Peterson and the Vikings, but I think everybody was watching that game, not just Giant fans. What you did to Patrick Peterson in those games, a possible future Hall of Famer, that was eye-opening. I'm curious, after the game, does Patrick Peterson come up to you? Does he shake your hand? Do you guys exchange a few words after the game?
And also, too, Chris, I'm sure Isaiah is going to tell you about it. Like, you're talking about like 200 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Like he owned Peterson, and I'm going to let him tell the story. There's a podcast involved here that was a little bit of motivation where a certain DB was chirping a little bit. So there was some motivation here, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll definitely touch on that. So yeah, the first time we were playing them, I was definitely just like, all right, like I used to watch Patrick Peterson when he was on the Cardinals, like as a kid or like, in high school or whatever. So I was like, listen, like I'm gonna bring my A game. Like I'm gonna make sure like he remembers my name at the end of this game. So that's why there was kind of a lot of like jawing back and forth. And after the first couple of my catches, he was kind of talking, and he was talking to Slayton earlier. So I was like, all right, like it's gonna be that type of game. Let's make it that type of game. So like every catch that I had, I was like, letting him know, like just talking in between plays, blocks, like whatever it was. And then he had that interception that it was. I don't even want to talk about it, but it was good. Just I wasn't the biggest fan of like how he kind of he just made it seem like he was just like the best corner in the world after that interception, and everything, and then all like the celebrating and everything that he was saying post game. So I was like hoping, and I was like, man, like I hope we play them again. I want the Vikings so bad. Like I was like whatever the scenario was at the end of the year to like, if we win and the Vikings lose and this, like they would play each other. Like I was like, I need that. Like I want that. Like, like right now. So then when we found out we were playing them again, I'm sure you've heard the story because you kind of mentioned it, but a Giants fan, so kudos to whoever it was, I don't know who it was, but like commented on my photo on Instagram, and the only reason I really saw it because like I get a lot of comments, but it was like a huge comment, like it was like a paragraph. So I was like, okay, let me check out what this dude's talking about, and the paragraph was like, hey, Patrick Peterson was doing some talking about you on his podcast after the first time you played him. You might want to go check it out. And, it went along those lines. So I was like, okay, like, let me see. So I'm on like the bus ride home after the last Eagles game. And after the last Eagles game, and, we're going into that like playoff week, and I'm just watching it, and I'm just eating it all up, and I'm sitting there, and he's like, yeah, like, that first double move, like it is what it is, he didn't kill me on it, and it was just a 27 or 37 or whatever yard reception, and we'll live with those. But like I knew what routes they were running, even the catches he had, like I was on top of it, like I really knew, and it just kind of made me like it gave like an extra motivation, like, all right, like he didn't get it the first time, let's sit there and really be motivated and like really go in there and seal the deal the second time. But he also gave some cues of like what he saw in our offense, and like like some like, oh, like I knew when they lined up in this, they were kind of doing this, and he wasn't saying too much, but he was saying enough to where I knew what he was talking about. So right. I actually brought that video and podcast to Daniel Jones, to Dayball, wow, to the quarterback coach, to everybody, and I was like, listen, like he thinks we're doing this when we line up like this and do this, like let's line up like this, but then change these routes and do this. And Daniel was coming up with all these ideas. So we went into that game with like a perfect game plan, and it was just like, wow, masterful. And after the first game, we actually did, like shake hands and kind of talk and like all that. But then the second game we didn't. So.
Well, Isaiah, think about this. The second time you guys beat them, you got the defensive coordinator fired a few weeks later. So you did your job. So Patrick Peterson, he took part in that. He got the coordinator fired.
And you know what, Chris? I mean, think about this. Your employees bringing you this information. You're like, this guy's awesome. You're like, you know, because again, you could have just blown it off, but like, that's pretty cool to know. Like, hey, you know what? That's a heads up approach. I'm going to bring this to DJ. I'm going to bring this to coach.
Yeah.
Like, you know, again, like you didn't have to do anything about it. You could have kept it to yourself and just kind of, you know, focused on what you had to do. But that's a great, you know, a great, second thought. Hey, okay, you know what? I should get other people involved. So they're probably like, God, this guy's too good to be true. This guy is, you know, he's catching everything. I love it.
I can tell you why. They may not know you this past year, but they're going to know you this year. So they're definitely going to keep an eye on you when you get on the field. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We need. I know we're not going to talk about this because we promised we wouldn't, but we need DJ to sign himself a contract and get this thing rolling, right?
Hopefully, man. You know,
it could be happening right now.
Yeah, it could be happening right now since David Carr is done and Geno Smith is done. I think next one up is Daniel should be next. So.
Isaiah, feel free to share any info you might have. You know, any.
Like that. Hey, Chris, well, listen. Let's talk about. No, I don't want to put. We wouldn't do that to you. Let's talk about. What one of the main things we want to talk about is the youth football camp. Like because, you know, one is it's cool that you guys are giving back to the community. You're doing cool stuff. You know, so the camp is, if I'm not mistaken, is April 22nd. It is for which, by the way, I said the same thing to Nick last week. Like this isn't like a typical hour and a half camp. It's 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Like that's excellent. I mean, like that's, and I said all week long, I'm like, hey, to the parents out there, to all you parents that are, you know, you're going to watch this tomorrow on Spotify or Amazon Music or whatever, or you're watching it live, like make some memories with your kids, man. Get them out there, you know, grab some tickets. This is in Rumson at the Rumson High School. You know, Nick's camp is in March. Isaiah's camp's in April. Are you bringing any special guests along with you?
You know, I'm kind of working on that. You know, we're trying to sit there and, you know, work on the special guests, you know, like who we want there and stuff. But, you know, I'm definitely excited and encourage anybody, you know, who's like watching, listening, like you said, who has like little kids. I mean, I love interacting with kids. I remember being a little kid and being around all my dad's NFL players and just, you know, being so excited to, you know, play and just like run around with them and stuff. So I definitely want to give that back. You know, we're partnering with, I'm not sure if it's like a local boys and girls club or like something to get like 20 or 25, you know, like kids out there for free, just, you know, to come out and like play and anything. And then we're also, you know, continuing to look for any other people who just want to like partner with, you know, us or, you know, Shaft, who's helping me run the camp in general. So.
Well, I got some good news for you. For one is, I'm working with Shaft right now on some sponsors and stuff, right? We're coming to, I'm actually taking the day off and me and Chris are, Chris, you're still coming, right? We're going to come and stream live that day from the camp.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
So we'll be on site. We're going to bring a ton of Giants Rush stuff to give away swag to all the campers, right? So, and then we'll do another interview live from the camp. We're going to give a ton of stuff away. So we're going to have some fun with it too, you know, embrace it. Cause, I don't know, like when I was a kid, I remember like going to camps, you know, you just kind of, it's like I said, it's making memories with your kids. They'll remember it forever. And like I said, like you're a dad, so you get how cool it is, you know, so my question is, what happens now? I asked this to Nick too. If I'm like a quarterback or I'm a lineman, I should still come to the camp, right? Cause everybody's going to like, you know, I don't just have to be a skilled player, right?
No, yeah. I mean, anybody, you know, pull up to the camp and, you know, we'll have coaches for everybody and drills for everybody. And, you know, we'll have fun too. And just in general, there'll be races, there'll be, you know, fun stuff to do, competition stuff. So, you know, just, I mean, just fun stuff. If I could bring my son out there, I would, but, you know, he'll probably still be out there running around on the field, just getting in everybody's way. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I told Shaft that, I have a 14-year-old quarterback, so if you want him to throw routes, he can come out and throw routes.
Yeah, there we go. We'll see his arm, see if he's made for it.
Yeah, well, he can hit right now. So he's 5'10", he's 160. He can hit about a 50-yard pass. He can, you know.
Hey, at 14, that's great. He's
a big moose. But so I'm gonna try to. I told Shaft I'd bring him out in case you guys needed someone else to throw some routes.
He's 5'10" at 14. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, trust me, he walks around all day because I'm 5'10".
Yeah.
So he walks around all day like this.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm taller than you. Yeah, he's
awesome.
a smart ass. You'll see someday.
How
How about the ankle? I love the fact you took a picture of the ankle all blown up and purple, and you were like, "Hey, I'm normally a lot faster than today." What was the motivation behind that? Because that was a nasty looking ankle.
I just had some like teammates and like kind of like people and friends kind of like making fun of me. They're like, "Bro, like you could have scored on that play," which I know I could have. Like, so I was already mad at myself because there was like one of the plays where it was like the scramble drill, and then like I was kind of like starting from zero, but Eric Kendricks was like kind of took an angle and kind of pushed me out of bounds, and it would have been my second touchdown, but I was just that whole game I was hurting like bad, like I had to get it taped up and this, and I was just fighting through it. So it was definitely a hard fought game.
Yeah, I was laughing. I was like, look at these cat's ankle, man. It's like the size of a softball. It's all purple. All right. So I'm going to give you real quick. I'm going to give you what we call the speed round. It's 10 questions for you to answer. They're relatively easy, but it's just to have a little bit of fun. Everybody, and again, everyone in the chat, there is a ton of you guys just cranking questions at me, from crazy stuff like ask him about the turf to I'm just going through them. Ask him about the turf. Hodgins has a heart of a giant. When's Daniel gonna sign? He's like, one of them says, I bought his autographed rookie football card.
That's awesome. Shout out to
I got all sorts of crazy things in here.
Yeah,
Isaiah, haven't had New York pizza yet?
Okay, so that's what I need y'all's help with. So like I've tried some good stuff in Jersey. A couple like good like restaurants, but I'm a huge food guy. Like, so anybody in the chat or you guys like DM me or spam me or at me on Twitter or something, because like me and my wife, like we love going to just try new restaurants, food, whatever.
All
and
right.
She loves pizza. Like she loves New York pizza, but I don't know personally where
You gotta go to Maggiano's.
Okay, I've heard of that. That's on the list for sure.
Yeah. I'll collect some for you and send them your way.
Yeah, I need all the recommendations, because the first thing I literally did there was I went to the EQ staff, the guys who have been there forever, and I'm like, hey, listen, you guys have been here for 20 years or whatever. You guys grew up here. Where are the places to go eat? And they gave me some cool spots. So I tried some of them out, but definitely that's my goal. Like this offseason when I'm there.
All right. Well, by the way, we had Gates on last week talking about pizza. So he told me he gave us two good places to go, one in New York and one in New Jersey. So I know you guys are all at different places for the offseason, but
and Craig, he's dead on about the pizza place, Bruno's in Clifton. Isaiah,
yeah, Bruno's in Clifton. That was it. That was
Nick up on that for sure.
Okay, for sure. I'll check that one out.
Speed round. Favorite, and again, we already asked this one. Favorite player growing up. Absolute number one favorite.
Oh, you guys are tough. My favorite and who I think is the GOAT are two different people. So I'm just throwing that out there. So don't sit there and
okay.
Get mad at me. But my favorite, I'm gonna say Larry Fitzgerald.
It's a great choice.
Come on. Wait, Larry Fitzgerald's not the GOAT? Come on. That guy caught everything thrown his way for 20 years. Let me go on, guys. All right, ready? Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Yeah, man. See that? I knew I liked this guy. If you didn't play wide receiver, what position? Because I did see some tape of you returning kicks.
That was in high school, but I was a cold safety in high school. Like USC, actually, like I was pissed because USC was my dream school, but they wanted to offer me for safety and not for receiver. So like, I kind of turned it down.
Wait, did I just hear you right? Did you say that USC was going to give you an offer to play safety?
Yeah, I tell the safeties all the time on the team, and say, hey, listen, don't give up too many deep balls, because I will tell J-Ball to go throw me back out there real quick and test me out.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Could you see him like, yo, Julian, make a mistake, I'm coming back here to take the spot.
Well, Isaiah, I'll tell you what, on the Hail Mary, last second play of the game, that we're going to see out there, I'm sure, in the end zone. Down the wall.
The thing was, I wasn't like the best like tackler in the world, but if you're talking about like a ball hawk and like going, like that was me. Like I'm there for that.
All right. Number 4, team you most hated to play in college.
Oregon. Oh my gosh, I hated playing at Oregon, at home against Oregon, any part of it. Their fans, everything. It was a huge rivalry though, so I'm pretty sure anybody would say that about their rival, but definitely Oregon.
Hardest DB you had to face in the pros so far.
To be honest, I would say I didn't get to play against this dude, but I practiced against him like all the time, and I would say like Tre'Davious White, like in his just technique and how fast and strong he is, like him, like when he's completely healthy and like fine, like bro, he is like a great corner, like so I would definitely say him.
Awesome, love it. Post game, your favorite place for a post game meal, whether it's with your teammates or your wife. Where's the spot?
My wife and I, we would either go to get some pizza. So we would either do like, a couple slices of pizza, or we would go to sushi because I love like sushi and seafood. So I would do one of those two.
Teammate that has maybe a screw loose. That one teammate where you're like, oh, I'm not really sure about that dude.
Oh man, there's a lot, man.
He says there's a lot.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. But the Giants was like a funny, great locker room. But because he gives me so much crap, I'm gonna say Darius Slayton because he's always trying to sit here and blast me on Twitter and stuff. So.
By the way, I've seen every single one of them where he's got this like sarcastic thing going on. He's just dropping stuff on you. I've seen it. All right, so Slayton. Okay, maybe we can get Slayton on and ask him too. Some of these guys aren't always. They're not easy to get in touch with. All right, this one's gonna bring you a lot of love or a lot of hate. Not real hate, but now that you've been here for some time, Yankees or Mets.
I'm not gonna say I grew up because I'm not from New York, but my dad played for the Jets 1 year, and the year that he did play, we went to a Yankee game, and I loved it. And I said ever since then, I was like, listen, if I say I got a favorite team, it's gonna be the Yankees. So I gotta go with it.
You made Greg's
I'm telling you, this guy's gonna have a 12-year career with the Giants. People are gonna love this guy. All right, how about pranks? Whether it's college or pros, like I always hear these stories about like Eli Manning throwing turf in people's mouths or stealing shoes. Someone told me you guys get dressed up to go to away games, that like someone got their shoes stolen, so they had to go barefoot. Like best prank you've ever saw, high school, college, or pros.
Icy hot in the helmet, like without them knowing. That one was like funny to watch. Like just like you see the player just start taking off their helmet and kind of thinking something's wrong, and as practice keeps going, they're just twitching and freaking out. That one.
Oh my God, that's a scream. Because like they used to say Eli Manning be like, hey, there's something in your mouth. Let me see. And they would open their mouth up, and Eli would throw like the turf pellets in your mouth.
Yo, that's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah. Camp, April. Right. Let's one more time. Camp, April 22nd. You can get tickets. I have the actual link for Eventbrite where you guys can get tickets. I'll put that out there. Kids 8 to 12 years old. So you got high school kids, you got college kids, you got Isaiah's out there. He's hanging out, make memories. Youth football camp. You got a couple weeks. Nick Gates is coming up on the 22nd, and 4 weeks after that, we got Isaiah's camp. But my question about the camp is 4 hours is a long time. What are you guys going to do? Like flag football? I'm hearing some flag football talk.
Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of stuff, man. I mean, I definitely don't want to spill too much, but I mean everything from actual position drills and getting the kids prepared and a little taste of football or NFL knowledge, and to races, to different competition drills, to just like a bunch of stuff that's just going to make it like a fun competitive environment for them. So it's definitely going to be a fun time for the kids.
All right, last one for me, and I'll let you guys jump in. So you growing up, your dad is an NFL player. Right? What was it like? Like I'm sure like NFL guys are hanging around. Like were you like I'm a Jets fan, I'm a Rams fan. Like did you have to be a fan of the team that your dad played on?
Usually that's how it worked. Like I was always just like a fan of whatever team he was on, but I was really just a fan of my dad. Like so, I mean, it didn't really matter. Like it was just whatever team he was on. I'm like, yeah, like my dad's the coolest. He's the best player on the team. Like even though he
That's
wasn't,
awesome.
So
Hey man, listen, it's hard to, it's a grind. I mean, your dad had to grind for 9 years, to keep a roster spot, and it's not an easy thing to do, especially at the fullback position. So, kudos to him. And,
yeah,
it sounds like a great guy. I really appreciate the fact that, he gave you the talk and steered you in the right direction. Giants fans, like I said, like we couldn't be more excited that you're here, man. Like you just burst on the scene, and I'm still in awe. Because I'm like, I don't, Chris, Mike, tell me if I'm crazy here. Like, again, I know they're different players from a style wise and size, but like it has that Victor Cruz thing going on, right? It just does. I don't know if you know, Isaiah, I don't know if you know the Victor Cruz story, but like Victor Cruz got like thrown off his team at UMass.
Wow.
Like,
yeah,
he got suspended, right? And then he walks on, and then like literally like just walks on and scores 3 touchdowns versus the Jets.
I was about to say I saw the highlights of that game on Twitter the other day. Of was that like a preseason game or something?
Yeah.
Preseason game, and when Coughlin goes to shake hands with Rex Ryan, he goes, "Wow, who's that number 3 that you have? That guy's fantastic." Like nobody knew who Victor Cruz was. He just burst on the scene, and everyone was like, "Where's his cat from?" So there's a little bit of, and I'm not just kissing your ass. I'm just saying it's really cool to see you just come in and be like, hard work, getting it done. And for what it's worth, not only are you fun to watch, but I got to tell you, like, all the videos that you're taking with the team and stuff like that. You guys are just all, having fun and stuff like that. Like, I think that this team needed a little bit of that. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead, guys. You guys jump in. Yeah, if you got one last one, jump in.
Yeah, Chris.
All right. Yeah, just curious, when you walk into that locker room, Isaiah, and you see Nick McLeod, John Feliciano, Davis Webb, I mean, how happy were those guys to see you again, right?
Yeah, I was super happy, and they were too, just to like kind of like reunite with him. Davis kind of like took me under his wing, kind of was showing me around the facility, helping me get place to place, and but yeah, it definitely helped that I was familiar with players like them, Matt Breida, I mean, just a bunch of players that I just knew, remembering coaches.
Right, Matt Breida, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Well, Isaiah, for me, my question is, I know, I don't know if you're a stats guy. You played 9 games with the Giants last year. Come into this season, you're expected to play a full season. You got numbers in your head that you're looking to attain for the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I definitely do, and it's always my goal, one way or another, to get them. I did that last year, and definitely surpassed that goal way more than what I thought. So that's something that like I sit down with my wife, and I kind of make these goals for the whole year of like goals for just like my life in general, for football, for like everything. And I'm like, all right, like I'm going to get this stuff done this year. So I'm not going to put out the specific number, but I always shoot high. So it's definitely not a low number. So I'm definitely shooting high for this year.
Well, listen, if it's anything like, look, DJ and you seem to have a lot of chemistry, right? I mean, you come in, hey, look, Kenny Galladay is probably a really nice guy. We didn't really get a chance to get to know him. But like you come right in, you leapfrog over him, and right away you make an impact. Like the fan base has been looking for someone to make an impact for quite some time. Like again, since Odell left, right? You come right in, you hit the ground running, you're healthy, you're working hard. We love, a little bit of chirping. We love guys with chips on their shoulders. I mean, it's New York, man. Like people love that stuff. So we appreciate, what you're bringing to the table. We're excited to see you play. Last and final question is, you're wearing 18, like you said, 25, 7, what did you wear in Buffalo? 16?
Yeah, but 16 was like more of like I had there was only a few options, and 16 was the best. Like, so,
all right. So the question is, you come in as a veteran next year, you already got, and congrats, by the way, on your contract, which is awesome.
Appreciate it.
What do you do number wise? Do you stick with the 1.8?
To be honest, I like the 1A. I was kind of like skeptical about it at first, but like a lot of people, family members, friends told me like, yo, like I like 18 on you. Like it looks smooth, like, it fits you. And my son was born on September 18th. So I feel like it has a little bit of
Got to keep
background.
it.
Yeah, I was going to say there's some karma there, dude.
Yeah, sure.
There's some karma. All right, last. Here we are. Youth football camp. Parents, jump online to Eventbrite. I'll send out a link. Buy yourself some tickets. Hang out. We're going to be there giving away stuff. Isaiah's going to be there, of course, because it's his youth football camp. Kids 8 to 12 years old. It's not an hour. It's not 2 hours. It's 4 hours. I mean, literally, like, you couldn't ask for a more dedicated time with a professional wide receiver from your favorite team. Rumson High School. It's, of course, it's a North Jersey school. Get your tickets now. We're going to be there. There'll be plenty of stuff that's going to be happening there. We hope you guys will support these guys. And of course, we're going to be pounding it all month long. So you guys can keep reminding you that the camp is coming up. And I don't know what else I can say, but you don't want to hang out with us any longer. So thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We're going to see you on the 22nd. And, hey, just keep up the good work, man. We're super excited that you're here. And look, man, go Giants. Like, it's 4 wins to 10 wins. Team is headed in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely headed in the right direction, man. But thank you guys for having me. I mean, I definitely, loved it. I love hanging out with like, genuine guys who, love football and love talking football. So, definitely loved it and talking with you guys. I got one question though. I've kind of seen it. I haven't checked, so I don't really know. Do you guys know if my color rush jersey is available online or anything, or no?
Great question. There was someone that just asked me in the chat the same thing, and I told them to try giants.com because you might be able to make it.
Yeah.
Right. You might be able to design it, but I'm not sure. Let me see. Let me just, anyone that's still in the chat, because there's still a ton of you in here. Does anyone know if I can design or buy the Isaiah color rush jerseys? Anyone have any idea? And I'm looking back through the chat. 3 people asked me the same question, and I typed real quick, try giants.com, because there's usually a way to make them.
Yeah, I remember my family was all like it was, probably towards like the end of the season, and sometimes it's hard for them to like make new jerseys and stuff like that. So he's like, man, they only got your jersey in one color. Like, they need to come out with more, like, and all this, and we were gonna buy this and this. So like, I was just kind of curious, like if they did that.
They used to have this option where you could go to, I don't remember if it was, I'm giving them a shameless plug, but Fanatics or NFL.com. And you used to be able to just go in there, buy the Giants color rush jersey, and then put your name on it and your number, right? And then now I don't know if they still do that because, okay, it was Chris. I'm looking at the chat now. So Chris just says it's not there. Yeah, he says it's not there. Question would be: is you just signed a contract, so maybe they'll be putting it in there.
I'm hoping they're quick to put it back up or something. So
yeah. Well,
the end zone in the fall, Isaiah. You're gonna see all those 18s in the end zone cheering for you.
Yeah, that's the hope, man.
You have now. So is the family still? Where's the family now? I know you're here. Where's the rest of the family?
In California.
Okay. Yeah. So you'll have to fly them in for a couple games this year.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. Well, I'll get you the restaurants. 2, I'll pump in the on Twitter and on Instagram. I will put the Eventbrite stuff for the tickets, and then of course, if I can find out some more about the jersey, I'll let you know.
Yeah, for sure, man. Appreciate that. Thank you guys so much again.
Man. Yeah, have a great week, my friend. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching another episode of the Giants Guys. Mr. Hodgins is taking the rest of the night off because he doesn't want to hang out with us all night long. He's a dad. He's got to go do some family duty, and maybe he's got to work out, run through laps, whatever he's got to do. You guys look like you need to go to bed, and I will talk to you guys next week. Thanks, Isaiah.
Cool. Thanks, Isaiah.
All right.